Hey, this is Edwin Quijada with the Fearless Coaching Group. And if you really want to learn how to level up your life, you should be listening to the Time to Shine Today podcast with my good friend, Scott Ferguson.
Time to Shine Today, Varsity Squad. It is Scott Ferguson, and we're at episode 152 with my really good friend, Edwin Quijada. I'll just call him EQ. He's a good buddy of mine from down here in South Florida. He has the company Fearless Coaching Group, which he has a heck of a story, and I can't wait to have you dig into it. But, you know, he lived life through power manipulation and whatnot. Then he made a vow to his son to really turn it around, to level up. He is a kidney transplant patient. I believe, if I heard right, that he actually has his wife's kidney in him, which is just, there's no closer bond than that. But again, I had so much fun talking to EQ. He's a fantastic human being. He leveled me up throughout the whole, her whole conversation. I know he will you too. So without further ado, here's my really good friend, Edwin Quijada, my EQ buddy. Let's level up. Hey, time to shine today. Varsity Squad, it is Scott Ferguson. And I got my guy, Edwin Quijada. He's a neighbor of mine. He lives just about 50 miles south of me here in South Florida. We have not met live yet, but I do look forward to that day. He's a speaker, coach, just a level up entrepreneur, level up mindset. The man is amazing. I respect him. I vetted him out. All of his information where you can find him is going to be in the show notes. You have to check out his website. It's very impressive. And you also have to go to his Facebook page, the Fearless Coaching Facebook page, and listen to the minute and 30-second speech that he has on there that he's giving. And the way he presents, and he's fantastic. He's a transformational coach, professional speaker, and leadership expert, founder of the Fearless Coaching Group, a certified human behavior consultant, DISC, I'm curious to see where he ranks with DISC, an emotional intelligence member of the prestigious Steve Chandler ACS Coaching School, the Prosperous Coaching Community, and Michael Neal's Inner Circle. It could go on and on. I'm just going to bring on my boy EQ here because he's just fantastic. His accolades are just out of this world. And EQ, Edwin, come on to the Time to Shine today. Introduce yourself to the squad, but first, what's your favorite color and why?
Black.
Black?
It's black, yes.
All right. Why is that, brother?
It brings me back to the darkness that one point lived in my life.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yes.
Wow, folks, we dug deep right from the get. And look, if you watch on YouTube, this dude is always on point. Look at me. That handsome eyes, beautiful smile, awesome guy, and he's dressed to the nines just for us here at our squad here, and I appreciate him doing that. But, you know, let's get a little bit into the origins of, you, Edwin. Like, it looks like you've been coaching 8 or 9 years, maybe what you kind of did before that.
Okay, absolutely. So my background was almost 15 years in investigations in the corporate world. And interestingly enough, I'm an expert of micro expressions and the ability to listen deeply. And that really kind of transformed into what I do right now. And my clients benefit from that kind of a additional tools that I bring to the table. Wow.
So you really not only listen with your ears, but you can listen with your eyes, someone's posture, someone's eye movement and whatnot. So that really yes. tunes in. That's fantastic. So like, let's get into the darkness, man. Like what kind of set, because I believe probably the darkness kind of set the stage for you to level up to where you are now to be a complete go-giver and help others. Am I saying that right?
Absolutely right. Yes.
Let's get into that a little bit, if you don't mind sharing with the squad.
Not at all. See, the darkness from my perspective, it came from being someone that intentionally mistook motivation for manipulation. Wow. And I use that out towards my benefit. And I convinced myself that I was doing to help others. And that allowed me to go even deeper in that rabbit hole of fully taking advantage of other individuals to my benefit and thinking that I was trying to help them out. Wow. So I'm paying it back now.
So you think that maybe you found their dark spot and took advantage of that to maybe make monetary gain, or is that what you were doing at one time?
I think it's not necessarily monetary, but power.
Oh, to have the upper hand for quote unquote on
Absolutely.
them. Why do you think you felt that way at a time? Was there any insecurities that were deep inside you or
Oh,
something like that?
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, there were. Yes.
Can you
Yes.
share? Did that
There
come
was
from an upbringing or like what's
most definitely. It was influenced by my upbringing and some of the benefit, if you will, from the people that I happened to surround myself with.
Okay.
And at the time, I thought that it was going to be beneficial for me down the road, from a growth perspective and from a building my own brand, if you will.
Sure.
And that was not the case.
Wow. So what was that aha moment that got you out of that thinking and then into saying, listen, I want to be a complete go-giver? Because I only know you briefly here at Q. You know what I'm saying? Like you're a complete go-giver. You give a lot of content for free. Okay.
Yes.
So like what got you out of the thinking into leveling up to, more of an intentional giving mentality?
It's exactly what you just said. When I transitioned into this, I did it because I made a promise to my son that within 2 years, I would be given back more than I ever taken, because I was not given. I used to take. Okay. And what happened is that when I transitioned, I thought that the connections that I have built will allow for my transition to become smooth sailing into the sunrise.
Right.
And very soon I learned that that was not the case, that I had not built connections, that people would actually see me exactly as I was, who I was pretending to be.
An imposter syndrome.
So I have no connections whatsoever. I had to reestablish and rebrand myself.
Okay.
That was a wake-up moment for me.
Wake-up moment. That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. That's deep. Yeah. You brought it up to your son. So you made a commitment to somebody that carries your name. That's huge. Yes. So let me ask you something now. The law of receptivity is very important to everything. So, I mean, you give, but you still have to be open to receiving. Did you have trouble, or even do you still have trouble now receiving good things, even while you're giving? You know what I'm saying? It's because you had to get away from taking.
Yep.
Right. You know, did you struggle with that? And what did you do to overcome being able to receive?
So my point right now, I no longer see it as a receiving.
Okay.
No, because when I give, I receive.
Right.
Now, what I receive is different. It's an internal satisfaction.
Yes, it is. And it's funny, like you can give, I tell the story, this probably happened 3 months ago, but I helped a friend out, and I use that term loosely, but I helped him out knowing that I would never get anything back from it, which is fine, because I was in a position to do it, and I feel that if you are, you should. But my goddaughter called me out of the blue. Right. She never calls, and she just called me, and it was just like, I had to sit back and go, wow, Kelsey called me. It was like, it was a receiving from what I probably did.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It's the stuff that it doesn't have to be monetary, right?
No, it comes back full circle. And sometimes it comes back from you least expected.
Gotcha. So Edwin, it's based right in the name of your company, Fearless Coaching Group, but what makes a great coach?
To think about the other individual in front of you and truly believe in the genius that exists within them.
Wow. So I'm writing that down, man. So give full attention to the individual in front of you and truly realize the genius and help them realize the genius.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yes.
That's and you help them along. You don't give them answers. I don't see you as a man that just gives them answers. You probably give them guidance, and they find it on their own through your guidance, don't they? That's awesome.
That's true. That's true coaching, right? Yeah. I don't solve the problems.
Wow.
And I don't focus on their professions. I focus on the individual.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because it begins with the individual.
Right.
Yep.
Which allows you to go out and really coach people from any background, whether it's real estate, finance, CEOs,
Absolutely.
CFOs. That's fantastic. Thank you for saying that. So when you're bringing somebody in and maybe you're in a discovery period with them, Edwin, is there any secret sauce, if you don't mind sharing, to help them find that blind spot?
Be genuine and be willing to accept exactly where they are, because it's okay.
Wow.
You can't change and expect a transformation overnight. There's a lot of things that you have to overcome and help them overcome. And it begins with them feeling comfortable and safe in that space that you are providing for them.
Wow. So you basically stack those habits on top of each other of making them feel comfortable, making them feel at ease to be able to share, so you can provide them with the critical, steps, if you will, to level up. That's fantastic. So when you are maybe in the discovery period, or someone is coming in and you've taken them on as a client, is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
No.
No?
No. Because it's not about me.
Right. Absolutely. I would want to know a little bit about your fails and like where you've overcame, but no, I understand. It's true. It's all about the person that's in front of you.
The fact of the matter is, people don't really care how much I know.
Right. It's how they can help you, or how you can help them, right?
Absolutely. Can this guy really help me?
Right. Sell the sizzle and the steak all
Absolutely.
together.
Yes, sir.
So talk to me a little bit about the micro expressions and your training behind that, and where did it come from? Absolutely.
It was part of the investigative field that I was working with, and I was always very interested. I always knew that I wanted to become an investigator.
Right.
I knew that.
Right.
And just as I knew I wanted to become a speaker.
Okay.
Those things that I knew I wanted to do. But it so happened that in the field that I was dealing with, there was the opportunity for me to become a trainer.
Okay.
So I can train somebody else. And the company did it because they wanted to save money. I did it because I really wanted to learn it.
Oh, wow.
Right? But not understanding the true benefit that it will have, a long-term benefit that it will have in everything that I do now. And I'm not talking just about coaching.
Right. Everything in all aspects of your life, being able to read those.
Yes.
So what is your technique for calling bullshit? Because they're going to say something, but with your training, with their posture, with their facial expressions, like what is your, that they're feeding you a line.
Yep.
How do you handle that?
So they're not feeding me, they're feeding themselves.
Right. Okay.
And that alone is diffused. It's not me against them.
Right.
I'm just the mirror.
Wow. Okay.
For them to see it themselves, right?
That's
and I love what you said, because one of the agreements, Scott, that I established from the get-go on my first conversation, even before I'm considering to become clients of mine.
Sure.
One of the agreements is that they will know that I will tell them the thing that they need to hear, and not necessarily what they want to hear.
Yeah, you have to.
Yes.
And it's how it's delivering. And I think that because you make it, you're becoming a mirror and you're making it about them, that you deliver it in a way that's still diffusing and being able to do that. That's fantastic. So
absolutely.
Edwin, if I'm out networking, which here in South Florida, we're able to do it a little bit, because we're coming up on day 8,920. But is there, if I'm listening to somebody that I'm talking with, is there anything that they're saying that would make them a good referral, prospect, connection for Fearless Coaching Group?
Absolutely. And it's one word. When they say that they want help, not that they need help. I do not work with people that believe they need help. But I love to work with individuals that want help.
Love that. I love that, because they've got to be all in, because
absolutely,
they're paying good money for you, and they've got to want that help and not.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Do you coach groups of within the company? Like, you have the CEO and they bring in Fearless Coaching to come coach groups?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
So within those groups, there's a hierarchy, and there's always that one that's below the CEO, and his ego is damaged, no matter what anyone says. Because when they bring me in, that's the first person that I go to, is the person that's the head below the head. You know what I'm saying? Because they're in there, they're feeling threatened because the CEO is saying, hey, we're bringing in Fearless Coaching Group. We're bringing in the EQ to come and level us up. How do you diffuse him?
So first is I meet with that individual before I meet with anybody else.
Okay.
And I establish the agreements that through the coaching, he's going to be just another person of the group.
Okay.
Right? Got it. And he is the person that everybody will look up to and will determine which direction the conversation and the coaching benefits will go and will head, depending on how this individual sees that investment.
Okay. Gotcha.
So this got to be all in.
Right.
If it's not all in, that's not. a coaching program for me.
Right, because he's the conduit between the head, right?
Absolutely.
So you have to almost kind of diffuse him a little bit and say, listen, we're on the same team. We want the same thing. Because a lot of people are like, you're here to make me lose my job. And I'm like, no, hold on. Whoa. We're good here. So,
perceptions.
Okay, so let's get into our DeLorean with Marty McFly. You remember Back to the Future? Okay.
Yes, I remember.
Let's go back to the 22, 23-year-old. Because first of all, you said you were into something for 50 years, so you don't look like that's even possible. But let's go back to the 22, 23-year-old Edwin. Okay. What kind of knowledge nuggets? We call them knowledge nuggets here. What kind of knowledge nuggets are you dropping on that Edwin to help him level up, shorten his learning curve, and push through maybe a little bit faster?
Absolutely. Just one that will become the title of the book for that youngster, and that will be, don't be afraid to screw things up.
Love it.
Yep.
Love it. Don't be afraid. I'm writing that down. Screw things up. Like, do it scared. That's what my good friend Berta Medina says.
Yes.
Do it scared. And I think you know Berta too, right?
I do. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We just had coffee last week in Jupiter, Florida. It was a great time. I love meeting up with her.
Yeah.
So how do you want your dash remembered, Edwin? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date. How do you want that remembered?
No bullshit. He was a server.
I love it. I love it. That says it all. I mean, you can write that right on the headstone, right?
Yep.
I love it. Total go-giver. Fantastic. Yep. So if you were to lose it all right now, that we have, that you've built, what would you do? What would be the first thing you'd do to rebuild?
So I don't think I would lose it all because I would not lose myself.
Sure.
So, materialistic things, not a problem, because the one thing that has kept me through right now is my understanding, not to believe my own stories because they're just stories. And at the end, there's a good chance they're not even my stories.
Wow.
Or somebody else's.
There's somebody else's they put on you. Wow, that's incredible. Thank you for sharing that. Yep. So, Edwin, what's the one thing you know for sure?
That I can make things happen for myself.
Love it.
Yeah.
And you can. Absolutely. You're firing off answers. I don't know if you've listened to a lot of my podcasts, but you're firing off.
I have.
Okay. That's fantastic.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you, listening to them. But what is then, because you've accomplished so much, what is the BIG, the big thing Edwin wants to accomplish? And it can be included with monetary. It can be included everything. What's the big thing?
So our situation right now, currently, it provides us these untapped, endless possibilities that other individuals are not seeing. And I'm embracing that. And to me, that is the big moment for all of us, to help individuals realize that even though we know that the future might emerge in unknown ways, the seeds for that future are all around us right now.
Yes. Thank you for saying that. I mean, there's so much opportunity. The people that I coach, and if you're listening out there, there's a little slap on the wrist for you, is like, and I told them right now is the time to start that YouTube channel, to start the podcast, to start stuff, because right now it's so transformational. No matter when COVID ends and we go back to our new normal, which loosens up a little bit, still what we're doing right now is going to matter. And I see you out there doing it.
Yep.
I'm out there doing it. Other people that we kind of fly with the eagles. And that you're right. Like right now, the seeds have got to be planted to be doing what they need to be doing to go big in life.
Absolutely.
So what's the one thing maybe that people misunderstand about Edwin?
That I'm not that type D individual. That my disc.
Not a driver as much as they say.
Listen, no, I'm very introverted. If you absolutely, I am.
Wow.
But the thing that I've learned is that I can adapt.
Right.
And I've embraced that part too. And I don't have to change who I truly am.
Wow.
Who can change who I'm being.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's true because it's funny. It's like because I have been speaking for 20-something years and whatnot. I noticed when you're on stage, you're very intimate with your audience. You're not rah, rah, like I'm more of that, up, let's jump up and down, let's get going. You're intimate, you're direct. And I could almost see that introvertness coming out with expression, which is fantastic. Thank you for being transparent with that.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate that. So what is your definition of a life well lived then?
So I think you only get one chance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you need to be happy with the decisions that you make. And if you're not, then make another decisions. Right?
It's simplified. It dumbs it down.
Don't complicate things that you don't have to.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. That's amazing. Don't complicate things. That's fantastic. So we're going to, as we kind of wind things down here just a little bit, Edwin, we go into our leveling up lightning round. All right. So we got 5 or 6 questions. And again, I say that you and I could talk 15, 20 minutes on each one of them.
Yes.
But they can all be answered quickly. And I'd like to answer them within like 5 seconds or so with no extra.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep. Go for it.
Excellent. So physically, not mentally, wisdom-wise, physically, what age would you be would you stay for the rest of your life physically?
45.
45? All right. Very cool. Very cool. What's the best piece of leveling up advice you've ever received?
I think it was turn off your autopilot.
Turn off autopilot. Love it. Love it.
Yep.
Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
My ability to be present. When I feel myself going somewhere else, I can bring myself back.
I love it. I love that.
Yep.
Be mindful of that experience.
Absolutely.
Love it. Love it. So other than fearlesscoaching.com and timetoshinetoday.com, my shameless plug right there, what's another internet resource that you like to go to level up?
I go to Dave Goldman EI.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'll put
Absolutely.
that in the show notes.
Yes.
Awesome. So not the book you're reading now, not your own book, not the flavor of the month, but what's your go-to book? If I'm in the doldrums and you're like, Fergie, read this, it really helped me out.
So it will be Right Now by Steve Chandler.
Oh, really? Love it.
Yes.
Love it. And you're certified through Chandler, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Excellent. Love it. Love it. Love it. So what is your most commonly used emoji when you text?
It will be probably a happy face.
Happy face. Me too.
Yes.
Simple.
Yes.
All right. So what's your favorite charity and or organization you like to give your time and or money to?
A kidney foundation.
Kidney Foundation. Really?
Yes. I am a kidney transplant patient.
Are you kidding me? Really? Wow.
My wife gave me her kidney 15 years ago.
Bless her heart, man.
Oh, yes.
And you're healthy?
Absolutely.
Everything's good?
Yes.
Good for you.
Yes.
I'm glad to hear that, brother. Glad to hear that.
Thank you.
What is the last question, which you probably know what it is? It's a toughie, but what's the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
80s.
80s? Why is that?
80s. Because I remember going dancing and truly enjoying with no care in the world. Listen to that music.
There's so much that happened in the 80s from it kind of rolled out of kind of the classic rock, which extended, right? But you still had the hair bands, the big hair don't care.
Yep.
You had rap, Run DMC, and you had the club music. Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Oh, you had the British invasion with like The Cure and Duran and stuff. It was fantastic. Yep. I'm a product. I'm 48, so I grew up like really in the 80s. So I love the 80s. I always say that too. I like the classic rock of the 70s, but the 80s is what defines me growing up. So, how can we find you?
So, Facebook and we try to maintain the brand, right? So fearlesscoachinggroup.com. You can find it everywhere.
Yeah. I love it, folks. Everything will be in the show notes. Just look below Fearless Coaching Group, this Facebook page, his Twitter page, his Instagram, and most importantly, his website. So do us a favor, Edwin, and leave us with one last knowledge nugget you want us to take with us, internalize, and take action on. Okay. So we live in a feeling of thought right now and not in a feeling of circumstances. And if our audience are able to distinguish between the two, they can become more self-aware to where they are and the decisions they are making in the moment. So, okay, let's elaborate on that a little bit then. So the be aware, be mindful of where you are while you're really working towards making decisions. Did I kind of say that? Okay. It's the same thing, right?
don't believe your thoughts
Love it.
because they're just that, thoughts,
Right.
and they're not even yours.
You're right. I love it. I love it. And squad, we just had, I always say this, but it's very true. Even more on another scale, maybe put the a master class on steroids in here with my good friend Edwin. But he the guy that his motivation was manipulation in the past, and he really noticed it, was shown it, and he made a vow, if you will, to his son that he was going to change his ways and give back more than he takes. He gives full attention, and he really helps his clients find their true genius within themselves. He's going to tell you to be genuine and be willing to accept where you are. If you want help, he's the guy. He doesn't want people that needs help so much, but you've got to want it. And if you bring in the Fearless Coaching Group, you're going to get extraordinary help. Don't be afraid to screw things up. Do stuff scared. Edwin reminded us of that. You know what? He lives a life, he wants to be remembered as no bullshit and a complete go-giver and a server, to adapt and overcome to your situations and be happy with your decisions because they were decisions that you made. Don't complicate things. If you need to change things, don't make it complicated. Be mindful and really don't believe the thoughts if they're negative. You can create the world that you want, and Edwin does, and he helps others do that. And we are so blessed. He levels up his health. He levels up his wealth. He's just a badass, and I really, really, really respect you, EQ, and thank you so much for coming on, my friend.
No, listen, I had a hell of a time. I really appreciate the opportunity to chat with you, Scott. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Edwin. Chat soon.
My pleasure.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today podcast, proudly brought to you by Sutter & Nugent Real Estate Excellence, who can be reached at 561-249-7266 and online at www.sutterandnugent.com. If you are a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on Time to Shine Today, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also there, you will see our recommended resources. We hope that you will support our show by supporting them. If you like what you've been listening to, it'd be great if you could just give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's our time to shine.